Tea ideas, real quick. Borage, rosehip, dandelion, or of course you can make wine with that dandelion. Globe amaranth, because it's purple bulbs, it's bright pink, purple color, and it would be fun for parties. Chrysanthemum, chamomile, and hibiscus, they're a good flower to start with if you're just getting into mixing teas. You can make you can create a simple tea, or you can create an exotic combination with various tea blends like spearmint, the anastar, the chamomile, the lavender. I have up here a tea, it's called Seven Blossom Tea, and it's pretty interesting because it is a mixture of several flowers. Passion flower, orange blossom, linden, lemon balm, lemongrass, rosebuds, hops, hand flower, and stevia. It's great for relaxation, sleep, and your immune system. And the hand flower comes from a tree that's found in the northeast part of the country or through like Minnesota or Missouri. You can help yourself, use a tea bag or a tea ball. At home you can use cheesecloth or a strainer. Flower tea is great for health and beauty benefits. Flower petals have a lot of antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. The anastar tea is Chinese and folk medicine, good for colds and coughs, treats upper respiratory infections, nausea and digestive issues, and it's really good if you add cinnamon to it. Spearmint, it's a perennial plant from Europe and Asia, and it's now found in the continents around the world. So what does that tell you? It tells you that mint is invasive. It improves your memory, your digestion, your relaxation. It's tasty and it's good for you. Linden flower tea, it has a strong sweet smell and it tastes like it smells. It's floral. Chamomile tea, it helps lower your blood pressure and it helps control diabetes. New studies even show that it prevents osteoporosis, anti-inflammatory benefits, and your immune system. We all love working in our vegetable and flower gardens. Just something about getting our hands dirty that brings so much joy to our hearts and soul. Flowers are a pleasure to our senses. Vegetables nourish our bodies. Have you ever thought about flowers as nourishment? And so hopefully after this presentation you'll want to go home and explore flowers in your garden. Grow, dry, store, steep, and enjoy. So teas, fig leaf. This is the butterfly pea. I don't know if any of y'all have this Baker Creek Heirloom catalog. They send this catalog out free every year. Or you can buy the full edition like at Tractor Supply. But it tells you all about the different plants. And you can order your seeds through them. Hibiscus, chamomile, jasmine, rose, lavender, chrysanthemum, honeysuckle, calendula, daisies. You can make tea just about from anything. You know, so grow these flowers in your own garden and then enjoy them even after they've bloomed. Here's some edible flowers. Some of these flowers don't grow here, like the lilac. It likes cold weather. The peony likes cold weather. But just about all the rest of them grow here. Melinda, can you show me what you just showed about the snapdragon?
You can tell it's a snapdragon when you take the little flower and you squeeze it, the dragon opens his mouth.
That's new to me, I didn't know that. The elderflower, the marigold, the hibiscus, the snapdragon, of course, the dandelion, the chrysanthemum.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
That elder, is that one that's blooming around here? We've seen some, I've never seen
The
before.
elderberry.
Is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Clover, the dandelion, your rose, your lavender, your sunflower, your chamomile, your pansies, your nasturtiums, your marigolds, your tulips. Okay, a little history. Picking, cooking, eating flowers and wild herbs was a common practice in many regions of Italy. Y'all know I'm Italian, so that's my passion. And other parts of the world. Flowers are rich in vitamins and minerals. Cooking with flowers was a daily practice for most families, especially during times of famine, disease, and war. Most regions of Italy have a dish made with flowers as key ingredients. After World War II, industrialization and urbanization, the people slowly got away from this tradition. Italy's post-war urbanization affected farming practices. In a span of one generation, knowledge of wild plants was lost within these communities. And in 1931, Italy's fascist government required you to have a permit to forage for wild flowers. Imagine if we had to have a permit to go out and forage mushrooms, wild flowers, wild herbs. In Naples, you can find deep-fried coghetta. Does anybody know what coghetta is?
Say it again.
Coghetta. Tom, you should know this. And in Sicily, they stuff it. Coghetta is zucchini squash. In Veneto, that's like around Venice in the northwestern region, they use the acacia flower and they make donuts and frittella. Acacia flowers are sweet, but don't eat the stems or leaves because they're not edible. Frittatas made with eggs. Carol and Tom, they know that well. Or better yet, we call them quiche, breadfruit. Jams, you can make infusions. You can make dumplings filled with dandelion and gnocchi. My grandmother used to make this, and children usually don't like it because it's kind of bitter, but the adults, it's kind of like an acquired taste. And there's some pretty pansies, and look at those beautiful tomatoes. I hope everybody has tomatoes growing in their garden this year. Mine are slowing behind already. Cooking with flowers is much more common than most people perceive. Not only are flowers a common garnish on top of a wonderful meal, but they can also be ground and mixed into the recipe in order to give it a more elegant and sweet flavor. Just dry your flowers just like you dry your herbs. Many recipes that include edible flowers are typically syrups, oils, honey, vinegar, baked goods, salads. However, they can also include everything from tacos to casseroles. Let your imagination run wild with flowers. Edible flowers for cooking. The chive blossom, mint. Mint is really good at marinades for marinating meat. Dill, clover. Red clover, white clover that you just see growing along the roadside. Edible flowers have long played a role in seasoning dishes around the world for soups, appetizers, entrees, casseroles, and more. Does anybody cook with flowers now?
My mother used to fix a dish with the yucca plant that is in bloom, that big white. She would prepare it around Easter. It was very good.
Oops.
Push it again.
fuchsias are perfectly safe to eat and tasty. They're believed to be good for what ails both the heart and the spirit. Does everybody know what the fuchsia flower is? Pink and purple. The flowers are edible as well and can be used as a colorful floral garnish in salads. Scientific studies have shown that the flowers are high in anthocyanins and a group of compounds that give these flowers their distinctive fuchsia red and blue and purple coloration. Anthocyanins are strong antioxidants. Further studies need to be undertaken to determine the precise health benefits eating fuchsia flowers might have. Here are some common recipes for you to try. You can make fuchsia berry jelly. You can make fuchsia berry jam. Fuchsia berry scones. That would be good with any type of tea. Fuchsia berry scones, this is the directions for them. And for tea, while using actual flowers from your garden for a garden salad may sound crazy, it is much more common than you might realize. Edible flowers can offer nutritional value when it comes to cooking as well. For example, gardenias and honeysuckles can enhance brain activity and keep your mind sharp through aging. The petals of peonies and roses contain phenols, which help ease muscle pain and enhance workout recovery. Flowers have long been popular for brewing tea. How many of you as a child used to get the honeysuckle and suck it? All children do that. I don't know if kids do that today or not. Parents might think that it was not good. I mean, they don't even want to drink out of the water hose. You got your chrysanthemum and your chamomile and your lavender and your hibiscus. I have the chamomile, the hibiscus, and the lavender up here if anyone would like to try it. And the blue pea also. Using flowers in herbal tea is an ancient tradition and still persists today. Edible flowers add great flavor in addition to health benefits. And I know there's someone in this room that loves blending teas, and that would be Michelle, and she has a lot of knowledge about teas. The butterfly tea, which is this pretty flower. I planted one of these this year, so we'll see how good it does. I don't know if it will do really good when it gets really hot, but right now it's doing well. It's caffeine-free herbal tea. It's rich in antioxidants with many health benefits, weight loss, blood sugar control, hair and skin. So let's toast to butterfly pea tea. It's this pretty blue color. Here's a good little science experiment for your children. Watch what happens when you add lemon juice to it. Is that going to work? It turns pink. I don't know why it is. But just like the hydrangea in your garden, the pH determines what color it is, whether it's purple, blue, or pink. It works the same way with the butterfly tea. Then we have the hibiscus tea. And most of these pictures are from my yard. These are previous years. Nothing really is blooming yet this year. So I kind of was not able to bring very many flowers to demonstrate. Y'all want to pass this around? For decoration, placing flowers as beautiful finishing garnishes to your dish will also help add a pop of color or up the sophistication value of your cocktail, dinner, or dessert. Edible flowers work great as decorations, besides just in a vase on your counter. You can use edible flowers for decorating your cakes, dahlia, cornflower, cherry blossom, viola, pansies. Edible flowers make a great decoration for cakes, pudding, and other desserts. They add a pop of color and a touch of beauty along with added flavors. For salads, the most well-known, as you're passing that around, if you want to try that middle section, that is redbud. I took those off my redbud tree. My tree now has leafed out, so there's no more flowers on it. So I picked them early, put them in the Ziploc, and put them in the freezer. I didn't know how good that was going to work, but I wanted y'all to taste them because they taste like a snap pea. They add a flash of color to your salad, and their different flavors can be used to sweeten or spicing up a salad however you want. The edible flowers for salads: nasturtiums, bee balm, cucumber, pansy. Salads are a popular choice for edible flowers. They make an ordinary green salad look like something special. Adding edible flowers can also boost the flavor profile, which makes your salad taste more exotic. So you don't have to go to a fancy high-class restaurant to enjoy some of this decorated, salads, and when they come out with your plate, how nicely it's decorated. Just add it to your salad. Everybody will say, wow. What flowers are edible? One of the top reasons why people miss out on cooking with flowers is because they don't know how to sort through which ones are edible and which ones aren't. There are a great selection of beautiful flowers to choose from. Flowers can be added to any dish or drink that needs a touch of flavor or a dash of color. Be sure to do your research. If you have any doubts as to what dangerous, non-edible flowers to stay away from, your county extension office would be happy to visit with you. A good example of a dangerous flower is David Bradley's angel and datura. Those definitely are poison from the leaf, the stem, the flower. So do not eat them. Then you have your edible flower trees. You can make ice cubes with flowers, for in a punch bowl, or even in a cocktail. Spring rolls made with flowers. Popsicles made with flowers. Make a beautiful breakfast, on top of your French toast. Custom Jell-O desserts, in a Jell-O mold. Edible flowers for candied petals. Borage, carnations, apple blossoms, roses. Edible flowers for candied petals. Candied petals are fun and easy to make. They look great and they taste great. You can store them in glass jars where they look great on a counter until you're ready to use them. How to make the candied flower petals. Using edible flowers as a small enhancement to your dish, you can make all the difference. Using edible flowers as the main dish offers a sweet and unique way to use the flowers ordered. You can go to bouquets.com, and you can actually order them already made, the sugared flowers. Candied flower petals are great to top any cake or pastry that needs that extra something. You'll need your roses, your egg white, a tablespoon of water, a cup of superfine sugar, not powdered sugar, your tools, your paper-lined baking sheet, and a pastry brush. I use the powder that you buy in the baking section instead of real egg whites. It's powdered egg white. I think it might be safer.
It might be.
And there's just you just remove the flower petals from the blooms. You clean only the petals if you want them to look the most elegant. Inspect the petals for little stowaways. You don't want bugs in your trees. Place the petals on the baking sheet. Take the egg and use only the egg white. Mix in 1 tablespoon of water and mix it. You don't beat it. And that's just to help the sugar stick to the petals. Then you use your pastry brush and you paint the egg mixture on the petals, and then you dip it in the mixture of the sugar. And then you can let it dry in parchment paper and harden. You can leave them overnight to harden. You can store them in a clear jar so they look beautiful on your counter before you eat them. You enjoy their sweet flavor by themselves or decorate or garnish dessert dishes. Nasturtiums have a delicious peppery taste similar to rocket, which is arugula, or watercress, and their colorful blooms look great in summer salads. I plant these in my gardens because they help with the pests. Both the flowers and the leaves can be used and have a similar taste. You can also use the seeds pickled as a caper substitute. You can stir fry those leaves. They're kind of like arugula, and put a little bit of vinegar on them. Pansies have a mild lettuce-like taste that makes them a popular option for salads. Of course, they come in a range of hues which look great on the plate, and the whole flower can be used, which makes harvesting super easy. Like pansies, violas, and violets have a mild and slightly sweet flavor. Again, the whole flower can be used in salads or sandwiches. Candied violets are also an excellent cake decoration. Here's one that y'all probably don't know. Hostas are an incredibly useful edible ornamental. You can eat the flowers, and in fact, the whole plant is edible. Borage. Borage is a pretty blue flower, and they grow good here. They're wonderful for use in summer drinks and in a range of salads or other recipes. One cool idea is to freeze borage flowers into ice cubes that can be put in your summer drinks. Also, borage, you can make purple fabric dye. Of course, you have your baked goods. And some of you will remember we had a birthday cake for Miss Mary, and I put roses on them to decorate them. And you used to see wedding cakes decorated with flowers, roses, and different flowers, but you really don't see that anymore. It's all the, what do they call that? The fondant, the fondant, and
People got
the
too
naked
lazy,
cakes.
too lazy to do all that nice stuff.
And then here's some other ideas for your baked goods, different things that you can use. Rosemary, lavender, cranberries, mandarin oranges, cinnamon, anything to dress your dessert up. All, your herbs and stuff are all edible, so it's not going to hurt you. And lavender. The peppery petal of calendula are a fantastic addition to salads, stir fries, pasta meals, etc. Their zesty tang adds piquancy, and their color adds vibrancy to a range of dishes. The petals can be used as an alternative to saffron. Fresh, zingy, and citrus-like, the petals of the French marigold, not the African variety, are edible and another great colorful addition to summer salads. The petals can also be used in cooked dishes and are also sometimes referred to as the poor man's saffron. You'll also want to grow French marigolds in your vegetable garden this year. There are a lot of benefits to doing so. I plant the marigolds and the nasturtiums in my garden, amongst my vegetables and stuff, because they help with the aphids.
They're also very good for medicinal things.
Yes.
Very good for what?
Medicinal.
You grow from cedar.
Yes, I grow mine from seed. They germinate really easy. They just need a little bit of moisture. All chrysanthemum flowers can be eaten, though they can differ considerably in how they taste. Some are hot and peppery, some much milder, and some even sweet. You may have to take a nibble of a few different varieties to find out which ones you enjoy. Planting the marigolds within your garden, help to deter the pests, and they also make Perithians from chrysanthemum family of flowers. Carnations taste a little peppery or somewhat like cloves. They can be used in savory salads, also in sweet desserts. One great recipe calls for carnations to make a delicious cheesecake, for example. Doesn't that look good? The blousy blooms of the hollyhock are one of the versatile edible flowers with a mild and slightly sweet taste. They can be used as garnishes in salad dressings and in a variety of other dishes. Has anybody been able to grow hollyhock? I tried it and had no luck. I don't know if they really grow in this area or not. Do they, Richard?
I'm not sure.
I think they need some.
It gets too hot here.
You may be familiar with the fact that you can eat a sunflower seed, but you may not be aware that you can also eat the petals, and the unopened flower buds can be steamed in the same way as an artichoke. Artichokes are unopened. And an artichoke is actually the flower of thistle, in the thistle family. Cornflowers have a slightly sweet and spicy clove-like taste. They also crystallize well, and so can also be used candied like violets for cupcake toppers or cakes. Gladiola and their colorful hues can be stuffed to create delicious dishes. The individual flower petals can also be eaten alone and have a mild lettuce-like taste. Honeysuckle blossoms bring a fragrant sweetness to jams, jellies, cakes, and other sweet treats, and our childhood. As the name suggests, they do have a somewhat honey-like taste to them. Dianthus or pinks. Petals can be steeped in wine or sugared for use in cake decorating. These petals are surprisingly sweet as long as they are cut away from the bitter white base of the flowers. You know, the white pith and like an orange, the same way with some of these flowers. Snapdragon flowers have a slightly bitter flavor that resembles that of chicory. It can be used in a range of recipes, and its snapping dragon shape means that it can look cool on the rim of a bowl of a cocktail glass. Anybody can try any of those flowers as it gets passed around if you'd like. Large, smooth tulip petals make wonderful little platters for sweet canopies or as little scoops for some ice cream or another dessert. They have a sweet lettuce flavor, but with a slight peppery aftertaste that can also be used in spring salads. Roses are often used in Middle Eastern dishes in the form of rose water, which adds intense rose flavor to a dish. But the petals can also simply be used as garnishes or additions to a range of recipes. Rose water and glycerin used to be the woman's favorite facial toner. Lavender does not just smell great, it can also provide a mild sweet, though strong flavor in a range of sweet baked goods, ice creams, and other recipes. Edible flowers from fruits and vegetables. Another place to look for edible flowers is in your vegetable garden. We might primarily grow these crops for another part of the plant, but their flowers can also taste great. Eating these flowers can increase the yield from your kitchen garden a little and help you make sure that make the most of everything you grow. If you can spare a few flowers rather than letting them become pea pods, then they can make a dainty, delicious addition to a salad. Like the peas, pods, and shoots, the flower on pea plants have a mild pea flavor. And I know my kids don't like peas, so they would be going yuck at even the thought of eating the flower. Although alliums are primarily grown for their bulbs or stems, the flowers of onions, chives, and other members of this family are also delicious, with a mild flavor that works well, often alongside the other parts of the plant in a range of recipes. The male flowers that you remove from your squash after pollination can also serve as a secondary yield from these plants. Squash flowers are a delicacy which can be stuffed to create a range of delicious canopies and meals. My grandmother used to stuff these with the ricotta cheese and parsley. I didn't care for that. The flower buds or flowers can be fried or turned into sweet or savory fritters, and the brightly colored flowers can also be turned into wines or jellies. In certain parts of the world, it's common to cook and eat the leaves of these plants. When cooked, both zucchini and squash provide an abundant source of health and tasty greens as well as the fruits. Amazing how I can look at this picture and my mouth starts to water. My grandmother used to fry these also, just a light batter and a fast flash fry. Those are delicious. And they serve them a lot of times too for breakfast. And the pumpkin flower or squash blossom, I don't personally like to stuff mine. A lot of people do, but I love the pure taste of the flower by itself. It's really amazing. And a little bit of salt. The male flowers will never produce a squash, so snap them off and eat them now. Judy, she's a friend, she fries them, and most people like to eat the blossoms. Some people even eat that flower raw. When she fries hers, she adds a little bit of breadcrumb and the Parmesan cheese. You can tell the difference with the male and the female flower. You'll see the fruit behind the flower. You want to leave those, but pick the other ones off. And most of your plants have way more male flowers than they do female. And in Rome, you find stuffed zucchini. When Braxias bolt and begin to flower, many gardens consider that their crops are over and done. But the tender young flowering stalks of kale, cabbages, and other brassias can be delicious in a stir-fry or other recipe. In addition to considering the flowers on fruits and vegetables in your kitchen garden, you may also consider eating edible flowers found on fruiting trees or shrubs. One of the most common examples of edible blossoms is the elderflower, which can be used in a wide range of drinks and dishes. For example, it is often used to make elderflower cordial or elderflower champagne or elderberry wine. Did you know that you can make elderflower pancakes? You can infuse vinegar with elderflowers, make syrup from the berries. Elderflowers and berries have many health benefits, influenza, and constipation. The elderflower pancakes, it's just about 2/3 cups of flour, 2 eggs, a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of salt, a little bit of milk, a little bit of melted butter in the batter. And then you just take them, and you can rinse the flour and just shake it off, and then just dip it in that batter, and then flash fry it. And you can do that either on your stove or over a campfire in an iron skillet. Don't eat the stem. Leave the stem on there to cook it, but then snip it off with the scissors before you eat it. Cherry blossom is another example of an edible flower on a fruiting tree. It is often an ingredient in Japanese cuisine. The blossoms are sometimes pickled in salt and vinegar and used in traditional confectionaries. The blossom from plum trees, peach trees, citrus trees, almond trees, and apple trees in moderation are also sometimes eaten, though they are simply used as a garnish or decoration. You have so many things out there available to you for decorating your food. Presentation is everything. Finally, when looking for edible flowers in your garden, it is also worthwhile looking at the weeds. Some of their blooms are edible too. It is always a good idea to allow some garden weeds to grow in your garden, not only for the wildlife and the bees, but also for you. Examples of edible flowers, usually like the dandelion. You know, they make wine out of it. It's bitter. I don't like it. The leaves, they cook those and eat those as greens with beans. They add vinegar to it. It's also good for people with kidney trouble. Dandelions are a common garden plant, often considered to be a weed. Noveline will tell you, the definition of a weed is something that grows where you don't want it to grow. So nothing is really a weed. Dandelion leaves and the green ends of the flowers are bitter, while the petals and the stamen have a mild, sweet taste. Spring is such a beautiful time of year. The woods come alive with redbud trees. The flowers appear before the leaves. The vibrant purple flowers usually are buzzing with bees. Redbud flowers can be used as a garnish on a salad, garnish on green beans, or any vegetable. The flowers taste like green, sweet snap peas, and I've recently learned that they freeze well. Okay, now we come to the Turk's cap. Turk's cap comes in red flowers and pink flowers, and it gets this pretty fruit. Okay. We are here in the extension office. This is the fruit of the Turk's cap. These little gems start to ripen in the early fall. You know they're ripe when they turn red. Turk's cap comes in pink. Turk's cap comes in red. And I've also heard that you can find Turk's cap that's white. We're here this morning with Richard. He's taste testing the Turk's cap fruit. Richard, what can you tell us about the fruit?
It's really good. I mean, it's a small fruit. It's got seeds in it. The seeds are somewhat soft, so they're not going to break your tooth or anything. And it has a very sweet flavor to it. Kind of tastes like, I guess in my mind, it has like maybe like a fig or maybe even like an apple flavor to it, but I've never had the fruit from the Turk's cap before. So very good. It's a very good fruit.
Children seem to love to walk around in the yard and taste test edible herbs. They seem to love this little Turk's cap fruit as well. Curcuma of the ginger family, turmeric. It's a delicate texture and taste. The leaves are used to wrap for fish. The root is where the turmeric comes from. And then we have daylilies. Daylilies come in all shapes, sizes, colors. See the daylilies? Have you started yet? I haven't yet either. Everything's behind this year. But you can put these on cakes, you know, decorate your salads. All the daylily flowers are all edible. And then if you really have a problem with going out and eating flowers from your garden, if you can't bring yourself to do that, just do a DIY. Make a pressed flower card and send it to your family. Send it to your friends. They'll love them. Just press those flowers in a book between two pieces of paper towel, and you have a really nice homemade card. And a health warning. Before consuming any flowers or drinking teas of any combinations, do your own research to ensure that it is safe for you to consume. Those with allergies may experience allergic reactions, especially with the chamomile and the linden flower. You could have allergic reaction to it. Consult your healthcare professional to ensure safety with medications you may be taking. You may have interaction with what you're taking. Anybody have any questions? Is everybody ready to go home and decorate their bed with fresh flowers? We know the guys don't like that kind of stuff, but I know all girls, ladies like to go to the tea rooms. So just go out there and just try the flowers. If you don't want to eat them, decorate with them.
Let's try that. Big tree, big tea.
Big tea?
Is that just the leaves off of any
Yes.
tree?
It's the big leaf, yes. This, it smells like singing emotion to me. Tropical, did you find it smelled tropical?
To me, it tasted just like the fig. The actual
Okay,
fig.
and you sweeten
I was
that,
amazed.
you sweeten that with maple syrup.
That has maple syrup in it?
Yes.
Okay.
This is dried fish. I dry it and send it to my mother because she has diabetes. She controls everything with her diet. She takes no medication, and she drinks big tea. It's good for lowering your blood pressure. Now, we find using fresh fig leaves is real aromatic and smells so good, like tropical. When you use the dried fig leaves, you don't really get that fragrance. So I like the fresh leaves. My fig trees are all starting to bud out, and actually I have a couple little figs on them already. So I pulled some of those off this morning and staked that for them.
How did you learn so much about all this?
Well, you know, my family, I'm only the second generation to be born here. My grandparents came from Italy, and they came with nothing. They came with a twig off of a fig tree.
Isn't that right?
Oh, yes, and they planted it. And in the north, in New York State where they lived, in the wintertime, they halfway dig the tree up, and they dig a trench, and they lay the tree down. And then they put hay on it and mulch and cover it up to keep it warm for the winter. Then in the spring, when they know they're not having any more snow or cold weather, then they lift it back up, and it continues to grow. But my grandmother canned, my daddy gardened. You know, they didn't waste anything. They used everything available to them. My dad used to go picking dandelions. He used to go picking mushrooms. But with mushrooms, you need to be very cautious. You better know what you're doing. So there's a lot of things out there that you probably didn't realize were edible. Not only are they beautiful to look at, they're very good for your soul and for your body. That's right. So please, everybody, I hope you take something away with this presentation, and I hope you go out there and be adventurous and try some of these things.